Imagine a world where our understanding of technology is constantly challenged, where advancements in AI are beginning to blur the lines between science fiction and reality. Welcome to this eye-opening video, where we're delving into a recent snippet from JRE Daily Clips that could shake the very foundation of our views on artificial intelligence. Now, let's prepare to unravel Joe Rogan's powerful message from "I wasn't afraid of AI until I learned this." Let's get into it. We often think of AI as the slightly imperfect tech in our phones, like our map apps mispronouncing street names or Siri failing to comprehend our requests. But a monumental shift came around 2017 with something called transformers. No, not the robots in disguise, but an AI model that gains what can only be described as superpowers with more data and computational power. Suddenly, this kind of AI isn't just following orders. It begins predicting and understanding in ways we hadn't instructed it directly. Take humor and chess playing as examples. It's mind-bending, right? But it doesn't stop there. Joe references an OpenAI paper where an AI designed to predict the next character of an Amazon review started showing an understanding of human sentiment, previously unprogrammed and unexpected. This concept of emergent behavior is fascinating and a little unsettling. Fast forward to GPT-3, this AI's big brother, which inadvertently started understanding complex chemistry, potentially better than the systems explicitly trained for that purpose. It's like giving a child a book to read, and suddenly they're debating quantum physics. What's terrifying? We had no idea about these capabilities until much later after they'd been released into the world. It poses a big question. What else might these AIs be capable of that we haven't even thought to check? Now brace yourselves. We promised you the original clip, and you won't believe what you're about to hear from Joe Rogan himself. What you've heard from us is just the tip of the iceberg, and the gravity of his words can only be fully appreciated firsthand. This is where the magic of technology meets the mystery of the future, and we invite you to experience the revelation. Here's the clip.
Because we've heard about AI for the longest time, and you're like, yep, Google Maps still mispronounces like the street name, and like Siri just doesn't work. And this thing happened in 2017. It's actually the exact same thing that said, all right, now it's time to start translating animal language. And it's where underneath the hood, the engine got swapped out, and it was a thing called transformers. And the interesting thing about this new model called transformers is the more data you pump into it, and the more like computers you let it run on, the more superpowers it gets. But you haven't done anything differently. You just give more data and run it on more computers.
Like it's reading more of the internet, and it's just throwing more computers at the stuff that it's read on the internet.
Yeah.
And out pops out, suddenly it knows how to explain jokes. Mm-hmm. You're like, wait, where did that come from?
Yeah, or now it knows how to play chess. And all it's done is predict, all you've asked it to do is, let me predict the next character or the next word.
Give the Amazon example.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. So this is 2017. OpenAI releases a paper where they train this AI, it's one of these transformers, a GPT, to predict the next character of an Amazon review. Pretty simple. But then they're looking inside the brain of this AI, and they discover that there's one neuron that does best in the world sentiment analysis, like understanding whether the human is feeling like good or bad about the product. And you're like, that's so strange. You asked it just to predict the next character. Why is it learning about how a human being is feeling? And it's strange until you realize, oh, I see why. It's because to predict the next character really well, I have to understand how the human being is feeling to know whether like the word is going to be like a positive word or a negative word.
And this wasn't programmed?
No. It
That's
was
the key
an
thing.
emergent behavior.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that like GPT-3 had been out for I think a couple years until a researcher thought to ask, oh, I wonder if it knows chemistry. And it turned out it can do research-grade chemistry at the level and sometimes better than models that were explicitly trained to do chemistry.
Like there was these other AI systems that were trained explicitly on chemistry, and it turned out GPT-3, which is just pumped with more, reading more and more of the internet and just like thrown with more computers and GPUs at it, suddenly it knows how to do research-grade chemistry. So you could say, how do I make VX nerve gas? And suddenly that capability is in there. And what's scary about it is that we didn't know that it had that capability until years after it had already been deployed to everyone.
And in fact, there is no way to know what abilities it has. Another example is, you know, theory of mind, like my ability